Hello to all of our friends and family in the Parent Tween Connection. Whether you're tuning in on our LinkedIn page or through YouTube, we are excited to have you. I'm Clarissa Constantine. I'm the founder of the Parent Tween Connection, and we are all about helping you learn about all those things that, we don't know what we don't know until we realize we don't know them. And so I love bringing in professionals to have some insightful conversations to help you be the best parents that you can be to those gnarly beasts that we call teens and tweens. So I'm super excited to have Kelley Weinzetl. I said that right, didn't I?
Yes, you did.
Okay, good. With us. She is a women's life coach based out of Idaho, but she works with folks all across the country and internationally, I imagine. And she really is passionate about helping moms be the best that they can be, whether that's learning to navigate life as a single mom, if that's your new adventure, or if maybe you're still partnered up and you feel like maybe you've lost your identity as who you are separate from being a mom. And that those are her specialties. And so we're talking today about the concept of a mom as a mentor, leading your teen with strengths and grace. So first things first, Kelley, thank you for joining me. I love bringing folks like you in.
Of course. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Absolutely. And so I understand that you are a coach. You're also an author about your life as a single mom. So as we engage in this conversation, you're coming at it from not just the coaching perspective, but certainly from personal experience, aren't you?
Yes, I am. I have a 17-year-old and I actually also have a 1-year-old.
Oh, fun.
Yes, I have a nice little age gap there, but
Mhm.
yes, so I am almost, out of the teen years, but yes, teenage mom. And then I was a single mom for 12 years.
So you've been there and done that, as they say.
Yes, I have.
So tell me, first of all, your perspective. I love the concept of mom as mentor. And I think this is an idea that if a mom or a dad, to be fair, because I imagine a lot of these concepts apply to dads as well.
Yeah.
A lot of times in the teenage years, when mom or dad doesn't recognize that their role takes on more of a mentorship quality rather than a authoritative quality, for example, life can become more challenging maybe than it needs to be. So tell me your perspective on mom as mentor to begin with.
Yeah. I think a big reasoning behind this whole mom as mentor, there's two things. So number one is her pretty much her whole life I had to co-parent. So she's with me one week, with them at the other week, and so going back and forth, there's never this opportunity to just be guiding her all the time, um or that she's under my household with my expectations all the time. So I'm having to influence her not only in how she's navigating life, but also how she's navigating the two households. So that, in one sense, I don't want to just tell her what to do because I can't be in that other household and
Hmm.
protect her or guide her or be there to fight her battle for her. I really had to gear her up to go into that other household and be able to fight her own fight and stand up for herself. So to do
Hmm.
that, really, I just had to be in a mentor type role and empower her to then go advocate for herself and stand up for herself. And then secondly, kind of like what I already mentioned, I want to be a guide fostering a strong, independent woman. And my daughter
Hmm.
is not the easy child that just says, okay, yes, I'm going to go do that. She is the child that's like, oh, where's the line? I'm going to go toe to toe with you and we're just going to go at it. So, to make it so we don't have a life of strife or a relationship that's constantly fighting for the alpha, really, because we were
Hmm.
two alpha females and
Hmm.
she's learning all of this. Approaching it more as a mentor that's guiding her through emotions, guiding her through the crazy, guiding her through the hormones, guiding her through the hot topics, and really guiding her and giving her options to allow that independence to flourish and
Hmm.
not just being like, this is how it is. And it doesn't matter what you say or what you want. I'm the mom and you're going to do it. So that's just very stifling and is
Hmm.
really going to create a relationship that's like pitted against each other.
Sure.
So mentorship allows you to breathe life into that independence and in the best way, or as your best of ability, to keep her on the tracks, or him or her on the tracks, without them just going off on the rails or off the rails. So
Sure.
yeah,
Awesome. I love that perspective. I was curious if it had a different perspective than I had, given that I'm not a single mom. Yeah, I wanted to get your perspective as a single mom. So awesome. So one of the first things that you say that's important in the role as mom, as mentor, and leading your teen with strength and grace is that your self-talk very much influences the conversations that you have with your teenager. Tell me
absolutely.
more.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'd say self-talk on both ends. So my self-talk, how I'm talking to myself is going to translate to my teen, whether I subconsciously or consciously know it. It's
Mhm.
going to be translated through my conversation with them, the way I treat them, whether that is through my actions or my words or my breathing or how I'm handling conflict. If my self-talk is, I'm, you know, not smart, or I'm not, or I'm a victim, or I'm, the world's against me, or I'm pity party, all of that pity party stuff, then it's going to, translate to my teen when I'm parenting them, that everything is poor me or everyone's against me. And then they are going to have that same identity of language of just like, oh, negative, 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 or, that type of language. So we want to empower our teens to have this positive, empowering conversation within themselves, but then also impact the world that way. And we cannot do that if we do not have that own self talk. So it starts with us. So
Mhm.
I'd say, that is probably one of the top challenging things in all of the challenges of being a teen mom or dad, is the way we talk to ourselves. Because if I'm not talking to myself in a kind way, then how do I expect, number one, myself to treat not only my teen but others in a kind way, but then
Mhm.
also teach them to treat themselves, number one, in a kind way, but then also the rest of the world in a kind
Absolutely.
way. And
Absolutely.
we're not just raising teens, we're raising future adults, and we're raising future leaders. And when we're in our elderly ages, they're going to be the ones ruling the world. So what kind of a ruler do you want in this world? A
Mhm.
kind one that is speaking positivity and empowering things, or negativity and pessimism and, the language of death, really, is what
Sure.
it is. So
Absolutely. So speaking about that, talking about not just what we're saying, but it's really about how we're saying it.
yeah.
Let's talk about some of the things that really fall into the what we're saying. I know one of the things that you've indicated is that there's power in sharing your own experience. And you mentioned that inviting your teen down what you call story lane actually helps to strengthen the bond. And I know that there's an aspect of like, yeah, 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 you had to climb uphill both ways in the snow and barefoot to get to school,
Mhm.
that the kids don't want to hear about. But what's your take on sharing your own experiences like that?
Yeah. So, especially when they get into that teenage phase and they are trying to test the waters and really, be a woman or be a man and go out and make strong choices. And when they especially mess up in those choices, this taking them down story lane is beautiful. It fosters such a great connection and a bond without trying to fix anything. So you don't take them down story lane to like fix or give necessarily a lesson, but it's, when they've messed up and they're feeling down and feeling like they're a failure or whatever, then you bring them in. Hey, this is what happened to me when I was your age. And so, like, especially my daughter, like, she may make a choice that's not the best or whatever. And then I'll share with her all the things that I've done that I've messed up in life. And she loves it. She's like, can you tell me some more? Really? So because she, sees me as her mom that's perfect, that doesn't do anything wrong, even though I was a single mom as a teenager, which she was the production of that, right? Or the offspring from
The result,
that.
right?
She has this very like, view of me of not doing things wrong, or it's easier. I've never done anything wrong. And then I peel back layers of like, well, actually,
Mhm.
I might have done this or I might have done that, and take her down those stories. And she's just like, what? My mother did that? Who are you? And so, and then it's like, I then tie it to like, and look, here I am. Like, should I have done XYZ? Probably not. But I learned and I didn't do it again. And here I am. I'm
Mhm.
able to tell you about it because I
Mhm.
did it again. So just connecting that, like, you know, because you do something wrong, I think this also like speaks into the whole mentality of fear of failure. So many people, like the whole world is afraid to fail. Who is not afraid
Mhm.
to fail? I don't know. There
Right.
probably is no one on this planet that is not afraid to fail. So being able to be like, oh, yeah, you just failed. Hooray. Look at all the billion times that I failed, the big
Mhm.
fails, small fails, and bringing them into that conversation just gives them permission to fail.
Mhm.
And like learn, fail and learn, fail and learn, fail and learn. And that it's just healthy. And that's part of
Mhm.
human life. And that it's okay. Pick yourself up. Here we go. And because you're vulnerable and allow them to see those maybe not so pretty parts of yourself, it allows them to realize, okay, my mom is a human
Right.
and she, made her own mistakes in life. And so it just really creates a deeper connection between your teen and yourself when you allow them to be invited into your mess ups as a teen.
Right. Well, and I think a lot of folks are like, the kids are gonna make their own mistakes. They don't need to know about mine. I know my mom was like that. I don't know much about the things that my mother might have wished she hadn't done or might have thought twice about if she'd had the chance to go back and think twice. And so there's a lot that she actually portrayed this idea that she never did any of that stuff. And it I think it actually contributed in some fashion to disconnection between us because it was like, "Oh, she was perfect," or like she thinks she was perfect and I have to be perfect, and like I wasn't allowed to mess up. I never felt like making a mistake was safe. And so I'm curious because I feel like that's a really good tie-in to the third point that you wanted to make about forgiveness of yourself and
Yes.
loving yourself and going, "Hey, I've never been a parent of a 17-year-old before," for example, right? And even with your 1-year-old, you've been a parent of a 1-year-old before, but that was 16 years ago, and you've never been the parent of this 1-year-old
Right.
before. And I imagine this 1-year-old is probably different than the other 1-year-old when you were there, right? And so I think a lot of folks have this idea of like they have to be perfect parents, and they harbor a lot of guilt or shame or whatever negative emotion about the coulda, shoulda, wouldas that they
Mhm.
coulda done as parents. What do you see the role of forgiveness playing in that?
Yeah. So, I mean, I think that no matter how perfect we are, even in forgiveness, of ourselves, we're always striving to be the best parents we can be. So I think we'll always have, coulda, shoulda, wouldas following us forever. But I think, first to love ourselves, we have to forgive ourselves. And
Hmm.
so if I want my daughter to love herself, especially in the world today,
Mhm.
especially as a female, if I want her to love herself, I have to show her how to forgive herself first. So I have made plenty of mistakes, and she would be not a mistake, but my decisions in my actions were mistakes.
Mhm.
And the, you know, I could just have lived the rest of my life wishing I would have never done those things, and been a single mom and wished and wished and wished those away, and just beat myself up and lived in that victim camp of really my own self. But that victim just keeps you so it does not allow you to step into your full potential of life. And
Mhm.
so you have to forgive yourself to get out of that and just realize we're not perfect. And honestly, I feel like that perfectionism and the idea of perfect is such a lie. And
Mhm.
um, it's really just a manipulative tool of the world, I feel, to keep us all aimed on perfectionism. So we're all running after perfectionism, but there is no such thing.
Mhm.
Um, we are just really on the journey of progress.
Mhm.
Progress of getting better, progress of, moving our family lines to better or blessing our families to better. And in that journey, there is no perfection. There is no perfect way to do it. There will
Sure.
always be mishaps. There will always be roadblocks. There will always be pivots. And the key is progress. And so I think in forgiveness, to tie that in, I have to forgive myself for making those choices. But the beauty of forgiveness is then I can see the beauty that came out of that
Mhm.
decision or out of those choices. So yes, maybe those choices weren't the best, or weren't the best timing, didn't set me up for the best way to start life. But I was blessed with this beautiful 17 or beautiful daughter that's now 17 years old and just killing it in life. And on top of that, truly because of the way I was living my life when I became pregnant at that young age, and not really established in my life, I had
Mhm.
a choice: either stay in that victim and spiral in those wrong decisions, or rise up and mature up and be the woman that you've been called to be. And that's, thank goodness, that is what I chose to do. And so my life was better because I was pregnant, because then I stopped drinking, I stopped making those wild decisions.
Mhm. Mhm.
Went from I had like a 2.6 GPA to a 3.9 GPA. Like,
Wow.
I know. I was like, gosh, I'm not smart. And then I got pregnant. I was like, holy cow, I've been smart the whole time. Like, I didn't know. And so, you know, forgiving yourself and moving on. And I would say, like, even to speak into that, my 19-year-old self, when I was pregnant, I just felt the shame, and the shame of the choice, the shame of being pregnant. And now everybody can see the choices I've been making.
Mhm.
And then all of a sudden I was like, you know what? What if I'm never pregnant again? What if this is my only baby I ever have? I am going to enjoy every second of this.
Wow.
I don't care that maybe it wasn't the way society says you should become pregnant or
Mhm.
start a family. That can't be changed. What is now is I'm having this baby and I'm raising this baby. And so I'm going to enjoy and savor every moment, because I don't know the next time I'm going to have a baby. And look, I mean, she's 17 and I have a 1-year-old. So that took a very long time to get there. So I'm sorry.
Right.
All of that to say, you know, forgiving ourselves to be the step into the fullness of the parent we need to be for that child. We've been gifted with this child because we have gifts within us that are going to bless and bring out the gold in that child. But we have
I
to
like that.
forgive ourselves on the way, because we are not perfect. We are far from
Mhm.
perfect. But the progress of growing up with them alongside
Mhm.
each other, growing up in your parenting, and them just growing up in life, you get to grow up together. And that's a beautiful thing. But you get to show them how to forgive, because forgiveness is it unlocks your life, really.
So
Forgive.
much. Well, and again, I know that you said that it really helps you to model resilience for your teenager. I mean, what a great example of that when you were like, "Hey, what if this is the only child I'm ever given or that I ever have?" Like, it gives you a different perspective to turn around and not stay in that victim mentality, which I think is key to resilience, right? Is like not staying in that poor me, pity party space. Like, there's a place for that sometimes, right? But you
Yeah.
can't stay there.
Yeah.
And, to pull yourself out of it, like, things happen, like, that what's that saying? "Spit happens," right? Like, but, like, how do we deal with it on the other side of it? and going, hey, yeah, you know what? That wasn't the best decision I could have made. And here we are. And I'm going to move forward and I'm going to thrive in spite of it, perhaps,
Yeah,
is really
exactly.
key. And I totally agree that watching the adults in their lives model that is key for the students. Or I say students because that's how I engage with them as a tutor. But
Oh,
it's
yes.
it's key for our kiddos. So awesome. So here's my final pop quiz for you, Kelley, as we round out this portion of our conversation. Okay. Everything that we do at Parent Tween Connection centers around what I call the foundations of connection. And I know I didn't give you any warning. I'll verbalize these, but I'm going to hold them up for a second. Each of the letters of these phrases spells out connection. And so I'm going to go through them for all of our listeners. And I'd love to know which one of these pops up as most resonant or most important, or which one fascinates you, whatever one just kind of like smacks, jumps up and smacks you. Okay.
Okay.
So in order of the letters of connection, we have create a safe place, observe, non-judgment, nod and smile, as in zip it,
Yeah.
explore, challenge your truths, take your time, innovate, own your own story, and nurture. Which of those is popping out most for you in terms of having a strong relationship with your teenager?
The first one for sure. Hands down.
Creating a safe place.
Yeah.
What does it mean to you?
So this is something I've told my daughter forever, and especially being two different households. Your teen needs to know that they can come to you no matter what they've done and it's safe. They can share with you whatever it is, whether it's about you or about if you're together with the other parent, if it's about the other parent, a family member, a friend, themselves, whatever it is, they need to feel fully safe to retreat to you and share whatever it is, or call you when they're in trouble, or maybe they've made bad decisions and they need help so they don't continue making those decisions
Hmm.
in that moment. That teen needs to know that you are safe. And especially in single parenting, or co-parenting, excuse me, if your teen doesn't feel safe, they're not going to tell you things.
Hmm.
And they need to be able to come home and unload on you. Because if they're not unloading on you, they are going to unload on somebody else. And you don't
Sure.
know what that other person is going to tell them. And nor do you know if that person is safe. And
Hmm.
you know that you can keep your lips zipped and not share that with anyone else. And they will be paying attention that if the other parents or family finds out what they've shared with you, and if they do find out that you've shared that, they will no longer share it with you. So,
Hmm.
safe space, absolutely hands down, especially with the rise of suicide.
Absolutely.
Like like the rise of suicide, that I think could save so many children.
I
Just the
agree.
fact they knew their space was safe. And just, I've told my daughter so many times, like, if you're ever in that moment, come find me, call me, text me, whatever. Like, I'm here. There is nothing that you can do that is so bad that you need to do that. Like,
Hmm.
yeah. And so I emphasize to her, this space is safe. It does not matter if it's something I've asked you not to do a million times or something that I'm like absolutely against. I don't care. I am your
Hmm.
mother. I love you. Just come and share with me, and I won't try to fix it. I won't try to do anything. I will just be here to listen. And if you want guidance, you let me know and I'll share
Hmm.
that. And that's a struggle in that safe space is keeping it zipped
Keep it
and just
zipped. Yep.
listening unless they've asked. So,
Right.
but yeah.
Right. Awesome. All right, Kelley, if folks want to learn more about your coaching programs, your one-on-one support, your ebook, where do they find that information?
Yes. So you can go to my Instagram. My Instagram handle is at dare underscore the number two underscore roar. So dare to roar. Or you could go to my website, www.daretoroar.com.
Is that also the numeral 2 rather than the letters TO?
Yes. Number two. Yeah.
Awesome. Fantastic. All right. And so, for those of you who are members of Parent Tween Village, Kelley and I are going to be heading over there to have a conversation about leading solo and digging deeper into empowering moms to raise strong teenagers. And if you aren't able to catch it live with us, it is going to be in our vault. You can learn more information at parenttweenconnection.com/Parent Tween Village. And with that, Kelley, thank you so much for this portion of conversation. And I will see you in the village soon.
Awesome. Thank you.